Assalamu alaikum everyone, and peace be upon you all. Welcome to today's video. Today I want to talk to you about a key ingredient we need to implement in our lives in order to empower any type of positive transformation, and that is connecting to truth. A lot of times when we struggle, it's because we have disconnected from some type of truth within us. And so we feel lost and we feel like we need clarity, and it's because we haven't really taken the time to connect to what is real within us. And therefore, when we disconnect from the truth within us, we become more connected to everything else outside of us. We become connected to everybody else's voice. We become connected to all the shoulds, what we should do, what we must do, and all the things that are imposed upon us, whether they're indirect or direct messages from society, family, environment. When we do not take the time to turn inward, we become scattered, and we lack a certain type of centeredness, right? And this is something I see a lot, and I also witnessed it in my own life, that the times that I felt scattered or confused is because I didn't take the time to actually connect to what's happening within me. And when we don't do that, the voices or the things that are the voices of others and the messages outside of us and the things that are external become louder. But when we take the time to connect to ourselves, we begin connecting to the truth of who we are, to the truth of our choices, to the truth of what our intention is, to the truth of our values. And so we have to create this practice, right, where we're always trying to define what is real within us. Many times, how many of us take the time to reevaluate what our values are and connect to those values, and to see if we're living by those values and what values no longer serve us? And so, one of the things that I work with clients is evaluating the authenticity of their beliefs. And this is such a powerful thing, because oftentimes when people struggle, it's because they're driven by these thoughts and beliefs about themselves or their experiences that they haven't taken the time to really evaluate the authenticity of it, the truth of it, and how they arrived at that truth, and what evidence do they have to support that truth. When we're just going through life mindlessly, we just absorb what has been taught to us and given to us, and we don't really take the time to evaluate the authenticity of what we think and what we believe and what we feel, and what do we have to support those things. And so connecting to truth is such a powerful ingredient. It is what liberates us. And this is the essence of Islam, because if you look at the essence of everything that Islam teaches us, right, it's about connecting us to truth, the truth of who we are, our purpose, who our creator is, the truth of our design, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pointing us to the power of our mind, or the power of our heart, the power of reflection. And so it's all about connecting us to truth. And even when we look at tazkiyah, which is, it means the purification of the heart or the purification of the self, but it's all about unveiling. Tazkiyah is centered around lifting the veils between us and truth, right? And the more that we can work on, the more that we connect our hearts to God, and the more that we practice tazkiyah and all its teachings, the more that we can work on tackling these obstacles that we built around our heart that keep us from truth. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-haq, right? He's the source of all truth that exists. And He is the one that can lift the veils between us and the truth of what's actually happening. Because when we're disconnected from God, we are left to our own limited human sight to figure out what the truth is, right? And so we can go through an experience and we might be veiled from actually seeing the truth behind that experience. And everybody, depending on the condition of our heart, depending on how veiled we are, that will depend on the level of truth that we're able to witness in our life. And it's not just truth about our experiences, it's truth about ourselves. Every experience in our life is an opportunity for God is an opportunity for us to be reintroduced to God and to ourselves. And if we look at life this way, if we look at our experiences this way, as them being means for us to be reintroduced to who God is and what He's trying to teach us about Him and ourselves and our world, and then we begin to have more. We begin to take the position of an explorer, right? Of someone who's curious to know, of someone who's willing to go with the flow and accept what life brings, because that every phase in your life, every experience is an opportunity for growth for you. But when we go through struggles and when we go through experiences and we don't take the time to turn inward and to figure out what's going on, because we really essentially do not maximize what we can gain from our struggles and from our experiences. And so it's not always easy, because turning inward means that we have to face pain. Turning inward sometimes means that we have to face discomfort. But turning inward also means that you will learn your truth and you will see what's been guiding you. Because most of the time, yes, our struggles can cause us pain, but what exacerbates our pain is our disconnect from truth, is our disconnect from our own pain, is our disconnect from facing the reality of what's existing within us. It's the way that we choose to react to our experiences that can either determine whether that pain will grow or we can actually derive some type of empowerment from our experiences. So I want to remind you that, whenever every experience in your life, it should be an opportunity for you to sit and evaluate what's going on. What are your values, and who do you want to be? A lot of times we go through experiences and we think about how we want to react, right? And we think about, well, I'm going to react this way because this is what's the typical way to react to a situation, right? Based on what we've seen, based on what we think is the way we should react. And we don't even take the time to think about, what kind of person do I want to be, even in this moment, even when I'm reacting? We forget that we have the choice to decide who we want to be in any given moment. And a lot of times, for example, we react to others the way they react to us. But then that's disconnecting from our choice, because you get to choose who you want to be despite how others react to you, despite how others treat you. It's your choice. And you get to choose who you want to be in every experience in your life, And when you go through struggles and you feel disconnected, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? Who do I want to be? What do I want my values to be? What do I want to be my guiding belief systems? And this is the time then this is the time that we should take to connect to, what value systems do I feel would actually empower my spiritual growth, would actually empower my transformation, would actually empower my relationship with God. And then we get to look at everything, get to lay out all the pieces, all these different value systems that have been guiding us, or different beliefs that have been guiding us. So we get to see, well, this is no longer serving me. This I've been disconnected from, and I really need to connect back to that. And so your life is all about you kind of being conscious and mindful of the things that are going on within you, so you could know what you can use and what you no longer need to carry. Because if we're not letting go of things as we're going through life, then we're not improving. We can't always be carrying the same weight, because we're always going to be burdened more than we were meant to be burdened. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not burden a soul more than it can bear. And when we feel like we are so burdened, a lot of times what we say, well, God's burdening me, and we don't take the time to evaluate, what was my responsibility in the burdens that I'm experiencing right now? And we add so much weight, unnecessary weight to our lives, and most of that weight is because of things that we don't actually believe. We don't actually go with our value system, but we're doing it because that's what everyone else is doing, or that's what we've been taught we should be doing, right? Whether it's because of cultural standards or societal standards, right? But we don't really take the time to think about, is that really what I believe I should be doing? And where do my beliefs come from? Are they God-centered? Are they people-centered? these are questions we need to ask ourselves. And when we don't realize that not asking, just because we're not asking these questions doesn't mean these things are not guiding our everyday choices. They are. So we're being guided all the time by all of these things that we have not taken the time to explore. And so I just wanted to remind you and myself that every experience is an opportunity for God to reintroduce us to Him and to ourselves. And we have been given the power of choice. And this is something that God has given us. We can't control our outcomes, but we can control what our choices are, what our intentions are. We can control who we want to be in this world. We can control how we want to react. And we could be firm and grounded in that, regardless of how people react, regardless of the shoulds and musts and all these things that are imposed on us, because we've trained this inner muscle to value truth above anything else. And that's the most powerful ingredient for any type of growth or healing that we want. So thank you for your time. Wassalamu alaikum.